Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a very exciting new series starting, which one of my lovely followers actually suggested, and I thought it was a great idea, so creds to whoever that was. Sorry, I can't remember off the top of my head, but it is basically a do's and don'ts series. So I'll be picking a new exercise for every episode, and I'll be talking you through the form, do's and don'ts of that specific exercise. So there will be short form videos, just a quick fire burst of information, which you can come back to if you're ever feeling like you're not doing something right. Maybe you're feeling a little bit of pain in your lower back or something like that, and you want to pop over to my YouTube channel and just remind yourself exactly how to do a specific movement. So before we get into the video, make sure to go down a little bit, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and then at the end of the video, leave a comment letting me know what you thought. Let's get right into it. Before we get into the do's and don'ts, I'm going to show you a squat just in case you are completely unfamiliar with the exercise. You might be completely starting out and you're not really sure. Some people think it's literally just like going like, or sitting down, I don't know. But yeah, I'm going to show you the squat. So what you do is you squat downwards like this and then stand up. And now I'll talk you through how to do it really simply, and then we'll go through the do's and don'ts, which is a little bit more specific, like do this, don't do this. Okay, so to prepare for the squat, you're gonna stand slightly wider than shoulder width apart. You're gonna bend down backwards, hips back, bum heads downwards, hips go backwards. You're sitting down into the squat position, tummy nice and tight, chest up. Then you push through those heels to return to standing, squeezing the glutes, squeezing the hamstrings. Then that is it. Nice and simple, but I know a lot of people do make mistakes. There's so many different ways you can mess up with the squat, so now we're gonna go into the do's and don'ts. Okay, so my first don't is to not flex your back or curve your back. If you curve your back and you squat, that's gonna be very painful for you. If you like overextend your back, it's gonna be equally painful for you when you start putting weight. That's just gonna be disastrous. You're gonna really hurt yourself, and it's gonna end up resulting in injury, basically. It also means that there's a lack of engagement from the core and the back, which means the upper body and lower body disconnects and doesn't work in harmony with one another. Something to note is that when you do these compound exercises, so things like squats, deadlifts, etc., you are using your core a lot, so you need to brace that core as you go down, squeeze it the whole way through, and then that's really gonna help you. Okay, so my next don't is when your hip line doesn't pass your knee line. So what I mean by that is if you just come to about here, you're not getting full range of motion. You should pass your knee line with your hip line. I know there was a lot of controversy with that in the past, like, is it bad for you to get all the way down? But the deeper the better with the squat. If you can get low without hurting yourself, with doing proper form, get as low as you can, because you will reap the benefits. So you need to get as deep as you can, hip line deeper than knee line, if that makes sense. And then your body will get more flexible, it will get used to the range of motion. And if you just squat to here all the time, you're not going to be getting all of the benefits that you could be. Another super common mistake is your knees turning inwards. That is one of the reasons I love the hip thrust, because other muscle groups don't give out before your glutes. You are solely kind of like working your glutes, really firing them up. Whereas with a squat, things like your knees and your back and other things can give out first. So you do need to be really careful, but ultimately the squat is a great exercise. So as you squat down, big no-no is knees. Don't know if you can see, knees going in like that. You need to have a nice straight leg position. You can obviously turn your feet outwards if you're gonna do a sumo squat. But one thing I will say is never let those knees roll inwards. And if you do let your knees collapse, it puts lots of pressure on the knee ligaments and takes away from the hip strength. Okay, so my final don't is to not let your knees come in front of your toes. So if you're gonna squat, I can't even do it. It's so like unnatural or foreign to my body. It feels completely wrong. So what you need to do when you squat is make sure your knees are not over your toes like that, because otherwise you're gonna be putting pressure on your ankles, pressure on your knees, which will result in injury. Okay, so my first do is to stabilize your shoulders. So basically what I mean by that is to open up your back, put your shoulders back, and brace a neutral spine position, basically, because it's gonna put you in great stead to prepare for your squat. If you start like this, obviously, that's not gonna be good for you. So stabilize your shoulders, open up your chest, and hold a sort of like braced open position. What this does is sort of turns on the muscles in your upper back and results in a braced neutral spine, which is perfect to hit perfect squat form. Said perfect too many times then. So I'll just show you a little example. I've braced my shoulders and then I squat down. If I don't, it's just a nightmare. Okay, so my next tip is to load your hips and hamstrings. So what you need to think about doing is driving your hips backwards, keeping a flat back. You shouldn't, like, I know a lot of people think squatting is like really like arching your back, and it's really not. You should be able to keep a flat back. So keep a flat back, hips back, bum back, hamstrings and everything, and then squat downwards, keeping this flat back position. I'm not going like this, I'm not going like this. Just make sure the weight is back here. Okay, so my third do is to distribute the weight in the center of your feet. So you need to keep your feet completely flat on the floor and not like roll outwards, roll inwards. I know some people do this without even noticing, like they'll just, I don't know, roll their feet out or in. You need to keep nice flat feet, distribute the weight. Just imagine you're like on a kind of like surfboard and you're basically in the center of gravity. There's poles going through your 2 feet. Just like yogis say, make sure your feet are grounded to the earth. Okay guys, so my penultimate do is to adopt the correct stance. So obviously with a squat, you can have different stances. You can do a narrow squat with your legs relatively narrow, obviously. You can stand. I would say a conventional squat is about slightly wider than shoulder width apart. So not massively wide, not too ridiculously narrow. Just make sure you know what kind of squat you're intending to achieve and then stick with that stance. You don't want to be like moving about mid squat. I'll just quickly run through it. A super wide stance with your toes pointed outwards is a sumo squat. So you sit back into that, and then you got a conventional squat, slightly wider than shoulder width apart. And then you've got a narrow squat here. So obviously there are loads of different types of squat. You've got a box squat where you can sit back onto a box, obviously. And then when you start adding weight, we've got our barbell squat. So many different types of squat. Okay, so the final do I want to talk about is keeping your shins vertical. So upright, not here, not here. I know that might be a little bit tricky, but I want to say it because, you know, anything can happen with a squat, especially if you're unfamiliar with it. Your body could go into the wrong position, and you should know vertical shins are the best way forward. Takes the load off your knee and allows you to channel the power from your hips and hamstrings. So there are all my do's and don'ts. Obviously there are so many different types of squats. We've got, like I said, the narrow conventional sumo. You've got a box squat, start throwing weight in there. You can do a kettlebell squat, a barbell squat, so many different types of squats. It's endless. So if there is a type of squat you don't like, don't give up there. Try and find another type. I'm sure there is one that you will enjoy because it is a really great movement for the lower body and something which you should have in your routine. Okay guys, that's everything today. I hope you found this video useful. Let me know in the comments what you think and if you would like to see more of these do's and don'ts videos and what exercises you would like me to cover. I was thinking maybe I might do the deadlift next because that is quite a complicated one that gym newcomers struggle with. So let me know if you would like a deadlift video. So have a great week and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.